All right, so we got cut off and we got a few more things to finish up here. So we were looking at our genotypic ratio. So we took our homozygous dominant, homozygous recessive, and we determined the genotypic ratio is 4 out of 4, heterozygous, or 100%, or 4 to 0. So remember, you can write it as a fraction, percent, or a ratio there. Okay, so then if we were to look at the phenotypic ratio, remember our phenotype tells us physical. Okay, what do they look like? Remember, what does the dominant do to the recessive? Okay, we know that dominant hides the recessive. So all of them are going to end up being tall. So 4 out of 4 are tall, or 100%, or 4 to 0. So you can write it any one of those ways. Okay, so let's do another problem as practice. Okay, so our cross number 2, we're going to cross 2 hybrid tall parents. All right, so the thing you got to remember, what is the alternative way to say hybrid? Okay, and that is heterozygous. Okay, so that means we're going to have big T little t for parent 1 and big T little t for parent 2. So go ahead and set up your Punnett square. I'm happy to see if you can do a little bit more of this on your own. Okay, so hopefully you've drawn your Punnett square at this point. All right, and then go ahead and see if you can fill in your Punnett square. Okay, so remember, you're going to bring it down, bring it over, and you're going to put your big T's first. All right, so hopefully you ended up something that looks like this. So remember, here's parent 1 across the top, big T, little t, or hybrid, heterozygous. And then parent 2, big T, little t. Remember, we're going to separate them because each gamete needs to know whether it's going to be tall or short. And you've got to combine the egg and the sperm to get your 2 genes there, 2 alleles, okay, for the offspring. Okay, so when you're done with this, you're going to end up with the genotypic ratio. I wrote it as a ratio here of 1 big T to 2 big T little t to 1 little t, okay, or 1 homozygous dominant, 2 heterozygous to 1 homozygous recessive. Okay, and I know that, or I could say 1/4, 1/2 to 1/4, or I could say 25%, because 1 out of 4 is 25%, to 50% to 25%. Okay, so if I'm looking at this again, now I'm going to try to figure out the phenotypic ratio. What are each of these offspring going to look like? So this one right here, we know tall is dominant over short. Okay, both of these letters are telling me tall, so this one's tall. This one, 1 big T and 1 little t. We know this one gets hidden, so this becomes tall as well. Same thing here. So we have 3 tall so far. This one, because it has 2 of the lowercase letters, it's homozygous recessive, it's going to be short. So your phenotypic ratio ends up being 3 tall to 1 short. All right, so remember, when we're going through and figuring out our Punnett squares, we need to first of all figure out what the parent alleles are. So you've got to figure out using that wording. If it tells you homozygous, what does that mean? Heterozygous, purebred, hybrid, you need to know what all those terms mean so you can figure out the parent alleles. If you can't do that, you can't do anything else. Okay, that needs to be a priority. Okay, secondly, you're going to choose the correct Punnett square size based on the number of gametes. Right now, this is pretty easy because we're only looking at one trait, so it's only going to be a 2 by 2. Number 3, you're going to put in those possible parent gametes across the top and down the side. Number 4, fill in the boxes with the possible offspring combinations, and then you need to figure out the phenotypic and genotypic ratio. Okay, so you're going to do that, and your assignment now, before you come into class on Wednesday, actually I believe Thursday, you are going to need to have these note sheets filled out. You're going to get a grade for this, along with these practice problems done. So you need to take a little bit of time and have these ready to go for me on Thursday. And that is all. I hope you enjoyed doing a little bit of virtual learning. Have a good day.